G'day, Matty. You there?
I am. How are you, mate?
Hello, big Matty Forrester. How's things, mate? Keeping well?
Yeah, very well. How are you?
Good, good. We have got a bunch of people that are rolling in the door. Um, for anyone who hasn't met Matt, Matt heads up our SEO and pay-per-click division here at 5 by 5. Um, he is just a fabulous communicator, and we are just talking all things SEO, what's happening in the world of SEO in 2025. So super pumped for this chat. We're going to get into it, Matty. As I said, talking trends, predictions, planning. Well, there's a few bits and pieces that have sort of been unfolding, which has been super interesting. Um, looking back, look backwards, what was working well in 2024?
Yeah, so I think, yeah, obviously when you got to look at the future for SEO, it's always good to look at the past too. 2024 was a really good year for us. We tried a few new strategies as well as stuck to old faithfuls that always seem to sort of pay off
Tried,
and create, yeah, really genuine leads.
tried and
Um,
tested.
Tried and tested and absolutely foolproof. So yeah, a good mixture there. But I guess the four probably standouts for us was probably creating specific content.
Yep.
Obviously, with the rise of ChatGPT and everything like that, there's a whole lot of content flooding the internet at the moment. So targeting those sort of low-hanging fruits and stuff like that with new content has been really, really good for us.
Mhm.
As well as that, sort of repurposing and refreshing old content. So it doesn't always need to be sort of brand new pieces of content. If you have something that's already got that digital footprint, there's no need. We can always just sort of update and tweak that and make it sort of future-proof as well.
That's
And the other
interesting.
two
So,
there,
so just before we move on, so is something sitting in like maybe 7 or 8 position in Google, or it used to rank well, but it's fallen off into second page of Google. Like you could go
yeah,
back there and basically like build out more content or update the content.
100%. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you'll find, yeah, like with GPT and stuff like that, like we were saying, like people are going to try and compete with your content now. So you might find you'll dip back, 4 or 5 pages, but there's no saying you can't re-secure that position by
Yeah,
zhuzhing up your content and getting those sort of bits and pieces of traffic back.
that's cool. Sorry, I interrupted your flow there.
That's all right.
You're about to lead in some Google business loving.
That's right. Yeah. You might remember me from the previous webinar. I think we actually covered the GBP. But yeah, I think the local map packs and stuff like that are only becoming more and more prevalent. Yeah, even for like bigger businesses and stuff like that, it's not just like your restaurants, sort of smaller businesses. It's big, big law firms, big
Yeah.
accountants, stuff like that. It's super, super critical these days. And then the last one is just sort of outreaching for really sort of relevant links. So
Mhm.
backlinks is probably not as easy as it used to be. It's probably good to keep it probably more white hat these days and sort of getting that offsite boost from really sort of relevant sources. So probably less random blog comments and sort of websites and stuff like that. They're a
Yeah.
bit dodgy. More so really targeted niches that are sort of relevant to your brand that competitors would also be targeting.
So if we dumb that down though, like literally it is going out and physically acquiring a link from someone else's website back to your website.
That's right. Yeah. Takes a
And
little bit
like
more effort, but it's definitely worth it.
yeah, and like literally this was the foundation of Google what 20 plus years ago in terms of how the algorithm works. And it is still relevant to today. Yeah, cool. Awesome. And that's the process of that's a big part of the SEO in terms of what we're doing behind the scenes in terms of, clients that engage us to do SEO for them. We're out there acquiring links on their behalf. So trends, what are we seeing from a trends wise, Matty?
I would expect that, like many others would, AI is here to stay. I
Mhm.
think, yeah, it's either embrace it or get left behind, in the sense of optimizing your website. So starting to appear for those things like AI overviews,
Yep.
as well as starting to sort of really tweak that content so it's sort of relevant to the way people are searching. So people aren't only using Google and Bing and stuff like that these days in SEO. They're also using, ChatGPT to actually search for informational content, asking it questions and stuff like that. And
Mhm.
there's no reason you can't sort of start optimizing your website for that and getting leads that way as well.
Cool. So, and just to clarify, SERPs, the acronym SERPs, Search Engine Results Page, is basically
Yeah,
what that means. And it's essentially it's like the anatomy of Google, because what you'll notice is you do a Google search, like no two pages are the same, based on how Google interprets the intent of that search. Fewer clicks.
yeah, yeah. I think yeah, with we're noticing a lot of AI overviews and stuff like that, stuff
Yeah.
pop up for informational searches. It's kind of like when snippets first popped up, which is a little sort of
Mm,
preview of a blog article. We're seeing a lot of those pop up, but it's sort of combining data from a few different websites. So we might sort of start to see fewer clicks through to those informational bits of content, but that
yeah.
doesn't mean that that content isn't still driving traffic and leads through the sense of pushing service pages forward or your homepage, anything else that's sort of relevant too.
Yeah, cool. Um, and then that sort of leads into that next point, which is just optimizing for those sort of things.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice, nice. Some other trends, localized strategies. We love a bit of local action, don't we, Maddie?
We absolutely do.
Keep it
This is
local.
that one. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's pretty similar to what we were saying that really worked in 2024. I would be very surprised if it doesn't continue to be a really popular trend this month or this year rather. So,
Yeah.
localized strategies being really focusing on your GBP, not only optimizing it and sort of setting all your services and products and stuff like that on
Yep.
there, but actually keeping it really active, responding to reviews, updating the FAQs. And if you have offers or anything like that you can post on there, definitely do.
Yep.
The more active you keep it, the better.
We're going to show some examples of a search engine result page that is pulling all that data. So if
Mhm.
you're not using your GBP, so with GBP, Google Business Profile, it used to be called Google My Business. It is super powerful.
Definitely. And yeah, the other one there being sort of using more schemas and other attention grabbing features. Essentially, that's another way of combating like those sort of AI overviews and stuff like that. With new content and pages and everything that's being sort of flooding the internet, the more clicky you can make your page or the more sort of enticing you can, the better. So, one example of that would be like a review schema. You can actually say if you have a 5-star review on Google Business Profile, you can make that show up underneath your website page. So, for example, 5x5 target web design Gold Coast. We say we're one of the highest rated in the meta title. Underneath that, we actually verify it by including our Google Business Profile
Mm,
star rating.
that's cool. Love that. Acronym EAT.
EAT is experience, expertise, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness.
Nice.
So essentially, like we're sort of repeating a little bit on, but it is very, very important. The sort of flooding of new internet, Google only has a limited amount of space. So it looks like they're going to continue sort of culling old content or maybe spammy or not very good content. So when
Mm,
creating new content and sort of adding to that pile, make sure, yeah, you're incorporating human storytelling and yeah, really differentiating yourself from those competitors so you can sort of avoid that cull or avoid all that hard work you've put in the past.
yep. Yeah, we got some an example of that. So, how can we have a plan for a rock solid strategy in 2025? And this is the search engine results page, getting ready for that. And it sort of appears in a somewhat random implementation at the moment through Google. Um, if we just sort of talk through these points and then have we touched on this? Optimize your website for SEO, following best practices. Sure. Keep your finger on the pulse for updates, and then test and refine. Okay, so let's show a practical example of this. I'm just going to jump out of
Let's
the
do it.
slides, and if we go here, I'm physically sitting here at Burleigh Heads, sunny Gold Coast, and I've searched on Italian restaurants. I've got some hankering for a nice pasta, Maddie.
Let's do
Um,
it.
So if we look at the anatomy of this search engine results page, what have we got here?
We got a little local map pack there. So that's your GBPs and everything like that.
Yep.
That's why that one's super, super important. It's before any other search results. So that one
Yeah.
is, yeah, top of the line. After that, you can see the first few results are actually from sort of review websites and stuff like that. Open Table,
Mm.
TripAdvisor, and Australian Good Food Guide. That's no accident. Google has intentionally chosen those so people can sort of shop around.
Yep.
After that, we actually have nearby offers and events. Those ones are pulled through from social media as well as your Google business profile. So that's the benefit of adding those in. It could be as simple as something like, yeah, Apra Surf, they're having a palmy night. How good is that? So
Yeah, I'm in. Yeah.
yeah, sign us up. So yeah, things like that. One more search result there, which is the first sort of genuine one there. It's just a
Mm.
straight website link.
Oh,
And
yeah.
then we have a few more social ones. So what people are actually saying. So you can see there we've got TikTok, Reddit, and Instagram. So three different sources there, all feeding through to the actual
Mm.
search engine itself. Um, Again, super, super crucial. And then, yeah, we've got a few more genuine ones before going into a few other sort of mixed ones there. And then the people also search for it. So this one's really cool. And I think this is in 2025 what we'll be seeing a few bit more of.
Mm.
Yeah, and you can see they're ones that are actually very close to us with a little picture as well.
Yep.
Balboa, Justin Lane, the collective, and so on there.
Yeah, cool, cool. So, as we said, this is rolling out sort of randomly and intermittently depending on the search intent, but you can see just how Google have just pulled all this data together. Where if we contrast this against what, so what year did you say this was from, Matt?
This was 2013, which I thought was really funny.
Like that's actually, well, I guess it's, 10 plus years, but like Italian restaurants, this is literally the search results page. Uh, Times were simpler back then, Matt. Hey?
Yeah, it was a lot easier, but
Yeah, buddy.
not as
Um,
easy to find something that you wanted, really, I guess.
yeah, yeah. So, and some interesting search results in there as well, just like what it was actually pulling.
Yeah.
It looks like that Reddit post was number one. So,
Yeah, that is an interesting one there.
yeah. So, that's pretty cool. We then
Yeah.
move into the next one. This is about keeping content human. Talk to
Mhm.
us about this.
This one's sort of similar to what we are saying in the sense of, yeah, obviously don't be afraid of using AI, even though, we're probably expecting a lot of spammy content and stuff like that to be culled. That doesn't mean that you can't edit it to a point where it is human readable. Um, I think, yeah, the more and more, we've sort of seen ChatGPT content, the easier it is to recognize. There's a lot of those sort of go-to phrases like in the
Yeah.
dynamic world of, or
Yeah,
one thing
yeah,
stands as a beacon of
yeah.
shining light, and so on.
Yeah.
So yeah, make it make sense. And there's a few tools and stuff like that you can use online to sort of
Yeah.
help you guide that.
Mhm.
But I think my go-to is just sort of read it out loud to yourself. And if that's never something you would say out loud to someone, don't
That's
don't
so
include it in your blog.
online.
Yeah.
Um, sorry, and the example of this was this the family law example we wanted to bring up for this slide, or
Yes.
yeah,
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 that's right.
cool,
Yeah.
cool. Okay, so this is a client of ours, family lawyer, and ranking for a pretty awesome set of keywords. So we look at just the, I guess, the content here. Featured image, they're talking about child support in Australia. And essentially, it's just a generally useful, helpful article if you were seeking out this information full of stats, figures, tables, bits and pieces, all that sort of stuff. Um, and this,
That's right. Yeah. It's yeah, doing really, really well online. For a good portion of time there, it was actually outranking Services Australia for that top snippet. Our
yeah,
graph was showing instead of theirs.
how
Um,
good.
yeah,
And
you couldn't really
that's
ask for
so
anything
like
better.
to compete, just for context, to compete with like a government or an educational website, is it's pretty tricky because they're always, Google puts a lot of emphasis as them being the authorities in that space. So you can see
Definitely.
here's number two position,
Yeah.
today.
Yeah. Really, really happy with that one. I think one of the key takeaways that sort of got it there is that human aspect that we were sort of talking about.
Yeah.
So Tom and Jordan, they're the strategists that actually put this one together. What they included in there was some real world sort of examples. So the people don't necessarily exist, but they've created a character that people could probably relate to.
Mm.
And they've sort of put real world figures in, such as
Yeah.
salary or, how much child support would cost for someone on set income per fortnight and stuff like that there.
Yeah. Yeah, cool. Next one, keep your local strategy firing. What does this mean?
Yeah, pretty simple, but definitely keep up everything on the Google Business profile. Make sure yours is optimized and active.
Mhm.
That sort of feeds through to your website too. So when
Yeah.
you're creating a landing page, like we do for many services and stuff like that, make sure you're being really, really specific. Use specific phrases, landmarks, even imagery. So, for example, if you were targeting Gold Coast, maybe include a couple of pictures of the Gold Coast, stuff like that. And then obviously avoid listing all of your, our services on one page and calling it a day. That one there essentially means, be super specific. And we do have an example of this one too. It's a fairly recent page we've created for 5x5,
Oh,
and
yes.
that's the SEO for dentists page. So this is one of our sort of niches that we do very well in. And we do have a few case studies there to sort of share, but essentially targeting just SEO is one thing, but targeting a very specific niche being SEO for dentists,
Mhm.
we're really sort of knuckling down and getting that sort of lower hanging fruit, and sort of demonstrating with that human aspect that, look, these are real clients that we have achieved these results for. Why not find out more, and sort of, yeah, have a chat to us about how we did
Yeah, cool. Love that. There we go. We got some nice
it.
spaces here. The different activities that we're doing on behalf of the clients, some FAQs, all that sort of stuff. So, a very, very specific page around a specific service in a specific industry. So, love that. Love that. And then finally, double down on low hanging fruit. Uh, how would you talk through that, mate?
This one's similar, but it's a little bit more complicated. So, as we sort of touched on earlier, with how you're probably starting to get pushed back a little bit further in search with all of those new things popping
Mm,
up. So,
mm,
while those new things are showing up for Italian restaurants, it's taking up a lot more real estate on that
mm.
page. So, page one isn't necessarily 10 to 20 results now, it's maybe 4 to 5, depending on what's sort of showing up. So
Yeah.
getting to those first few positions is even more critical. So one of the things you can do to sort of make sure you're getting that traffic is to identify keywords that are really close to ranking,
Yep.
finding ways to sort of get ways onto that first page. So you might notice all of those ones on there have these features that are pulling through to those new features, or maybe yours is missing, 500 words of content, like maybe you just don't have enough depth to it.
Mm.
Um, and yeah, another way to do that too is to sort of find ones that are ranking well or should be ranking well, but they have a lower sort of click-through rate. So you don't necessarily need to Google every search that you sort of hope to be ranking for. You can just sort of look into tools like Google Search Console and Google Analytics, find what should be ranking for, and then you can sort of optimize it accordingly.
Cool. Um, if anyone's got any questions, feel free. We're just like we've overachieved here, Matt, and we've literally like just got through our content. There was some good stuff in there, and if anyone has a burning question, feel free to chuck it up in the chat. You've got the master here, so far away. Um, for me, like, and I was sort of reflecting on my sort of parting shots and what does SEO mean as we sort of move through 2025. Like, it is still for us, like our SEO just continue. Like we've been doing this for, I don't know, 12 plus years now in terms of really honing in on our strategy. And it, like, knock on wood, it just continues to go from strength to strength. And we just keep like just compounding, gathering amazing um, search phrases. And it all just comes down to consistency of just literally us, like year after year, just building content, doing quality content, trying to add value. And ultimately, it's just a never ending process. And like from a business perspective, like just wearing my business owner hat, like the leads that it flushes out are just amazing. So there is still value in doing SEO. What about you, Matt? Anything that you want to leave us with?
Can do. Yeah, I think these two are probably fairly general, but they speak very, very true as well. And that is that content doesn't need to be human made, but it is meant to be sort of human read. So, like sort of saying before, yeah, when you create content for Google, obviously it's ranked by a robot, but that robot understands that humans are going to be reading it.
Mm.
If you look back at the past sort of 2 or 3 years worth of Google core updates, which usually shake up the SERPs as much as possible, a lot of them have been about creating helpful content. And the way to do that is to make sure it's human friendly. The next one there is Googling yourself isn't as embarrassing as it used to be. So SERPs change a lot. Those features, like you mentioned, John, they seem to come and go. Um, Even like AI overviews and stuff like that. Like we have some of those that replace snippets for some weeks, and then for some reason snippets come back. So keep on top of it. Just make sure you're Googling those keywords that you want to be ranking for, seeing what is there, and optimizing accordingly ongoing.
It's a roller coaster, Matt, this game of SEO, isn't it? Woo.
Yeah, Google likes to keep us on our toes,
Strap
right?
in. Mate, we got a couple of questions here. Chloe has asked, what advice would you give to growing website traction in a very niche service? Niche, that is a wonderful a word in the world of SEO.
Mhm.
Um, you would only need the service under certain circumstances, e.g., medical driving assessment. Awesome. Like the more niche and specific you can get, the better. Although you can go too niche, to a point where like there's just no one searching on the stuff, or like literally less than 10 people searching on every single month. So, how would you what would you say around that, Matt?
Well, it kind of sounds like you've got yourself a business that is targeting those lower hanging
Yeah.
fruits mentioned above. So, if anything in SEO, that's kind of a really, really good opportunity. Um, it might not necessarily be about creating a whole range of content, but you can create really targeted content around those niches. And if it is like a really sort of simple service, what you can do there is sort of create parallel content to those service
Mhm.
pages, like blogs and stuff like that. They might not be directly related, but they can be similar enough to sort of drive those service pages forward.
Yeah. So if we look at like I've just punched that search phrase into Google medical driving assessment, and you can see that the bulk of the results are focused around government websites.
Mhm.
Well, that looks like a private institution, but yeah, a couple of businesses in there. I wonder, I don't know, Chloe, if you can put in the chat, whether there's a geographical focus. So whether we say um, Brisbane, there we go.
There you go. Yeah.
Just happens to be one of our clients. Uh, um, uh, yeah, sorry, Chloe. I'm just connecting the dots here. You're from driving well. Sorry, I didn't make that link there. So awesome. Your number one position. Job done. Okay. But then so all right, let's give another example. Sydney. Then that's potentially where you'd start building out these landing pages in those
Mhm.
specific areas, assuming that you can service that area and you can actually provide the service. Um, then yeah, you can build those out. So it's limitless in terms of what you can do there.
Definitely. If there's search volume, hit it 100% every time.
Boom. So hopefully that's helped. Atlanta has asked, any advice on naming images in website for SEO? Best practice.
In terms of naming images, that might be referring to a few things there from the actual file names. Yeah, the sort of title or the alt text as well.
Yeah.
Yes, file names. Okay, yeah. I wouldn't put too much time into your file names. Obviously, keep it fairly similar to what the image is describing.
Yeah.
If you can include a keyword, that's great. I think every little bit counts in an SEO strategy. That'd be awesome. The main thing I would be concerned with in images is making sure that it's optimized. So try not to sort of upload a PNG or a JPEG. go for a WebP. It's much, much easier for
Yeah.
crawlers to sort of read and for websites to load when they're sort of
Yeah.
optimized like that. And if the file name is something like istock.23419, something like that, maybe just rename it to something more relevant and easy to use.
Yeah. So, Lana, I think this is your website from memory. There doesn't seem to be loading the banner. Uh, but if we look at the naming convention, yeah, using a PNG, the alt tag here could be improved as well. So, everything that Matt said, yeah, you can definitely go and implement site wide.
Mhm.
Um, uh, cool. And then Marcus, what if you're ranking but you aren't converting? Any tips you'd give? That's a great question.
That is a good one. Um, I'd sort of look at what the cause is. So if you're ranking but you're not getting clicks, that might be when you can start to look at those sort of optimizations we were talking about earlier,
Yeah.
like sort of having those schemas and stuff like that added on the website so that it makes it
Mhm.
really easy and appealing to click. If you are getting clicks, but they're not sort of converting, I just sort of look over the website and make sure you've got easy forms and stuff like that to access. Maybe it's something as simple as sort of targeting different keywords, even like maybe your keywords that you're getting a lot of traffic for aren't the ones that you want leads for, or
Mm.
something like that.
Okay. Yeah, like looking at obviously this is the site, we built this site. You can see that, that's really front and center in terms of what the next step looks like. I
Mhm.
wonder, yeah, like there's a couple of tools you can look at. There's one called Hotjar that allows you to like sort of track someone's user journey through the actual site as well, and almost like records their step-by-step session. Um, so maybe that's something to look at. You can literally just sign up for an account and if you email us the script, or we can insert that for you. It does add a little bit of weight to the actual website. Um, so um, yeah, that conversion rate optimization process is it can be a little bit tricky. And there's lots of variables I think in the mix there as well. So
Yes, definitely.
Um, I think that's it for the questions, Matt. That's super helpful. Um,
Easy.
Mate, thank you very much. Thanks everyone for joining us. Go forth, create amazing content that is optimized, and be consistent is our words of wisdom. Get it out to the
Definitely.
world and keep those rankings a flowing. All right, Matty, off to build some more content. See you, mate. Thank you.
See you,
You, buddy.
mate.
Bye. See you, everyone. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.